Muted.
I was muted. Okay, I'll start from the top.
You can just say like thanks for
All right, everybody. Thanks for waiting. Had some technical difficulties with my mic. So yeah. I'm also going to swing over here and close this door. All right, y'all. So now, can everybody hear me? Cool. Now that everybody can hear, let's start from the top. Production intensive part 2. We're going to talk about lighting, mobile journalism, and our live streaming fundamentals. We don't have to go into so much detail as we did in the first part, so we'll just kind of dive back into where we were at. We'll go over the overview. So the first part is lighting techniques. We'll talk about different lighting setups for video and photos and how they improve all your content. And then for the second part, we'll do mobile journalism. So we'll talk about essential skills for compelling news style content. Using just your smartphone, it doesn't have to this doesn't only apply to news style content. It's just when you talk about mobile journalism, it's usually news style, but don't worry, it applies to all kinds of content. Number 3 is live streaming. So we'll go over fundamental techniques. We won't go into the technicals of live streaming today because that can be a whole class in its own. But just the fundamentals for engaging in live broadcasts and connecting with your audience. And then we'll talk a little bit about some tools that you can use to capture your live streams. So first part, lighting. Why does your lighting matter? It sets the mood and it sets the tone. So lighting creates an emotional atmosphere that draws your viewers into your story and keeps them engaged. I mean, that's the best explanation for it. Lighting is going to create the mood. It's going to set the tone, and it's going to show the viewers where we're at when it comes to. It's going to show the viewers where we're at when it comes to kind of what we're. It's going to kind of show the viewer like where we are at in the story and the mood behind the story. And it's definitely going to keep them engaged, and it's going to help them really, understand where we're at in the story. Number 2, it improves image quality. Proper lighting dramatically enhances the clarity, reduces the noise, and makes your content look professional. So when you have a properly lit scene or a properly lit situation, it's just going to make everything look much more professional and better. When you properly light something, like when you have your keys, when you have your fills, when you have all those different pieces, it's just going to make things much clearer. And when I talk about reducing noise, I'm not talking about audio. I'm talking about the grain that you see in the picture. Just kind of like you see me over here in the corner. It's like without good lighting in here, you wouldn't really see me well because the room itself is dark. And without any backlights or anything behind me, you wouldn't even know. Like, I would look like I'm part of that background. So, yeah. Last part is it's really essential for all formats. Like, it doesn't really matter if you're shooting photos, shooting videos, if you're going live or you're on your phone. It doesn't matter. Like being on a Zoom, doesn't matter. no matter what it is, good lighting is going to help you in all of those situations. So 3-point lighting setup. The first thing is the key light. This is your main light source. We talked about this in part 1, but it's your main light source and it provides the primary lighting of your scene. And it also establishes like the overall exposure for your subject, so you can really set your camera and stuff off of your key light, because it's going to help you determine whether your subject is blown out, whether they're too dark, and then where you're going to need to put your other lights. Fill light, this is your second light. It's usually positioned on the opposite side of the subject, and this is literally going to do exactly what it says. It's going to fill in your subject. So it'll get rid of your harsh shadows. It'll get rid of any like unwanted extras that your key light creates, and it'll really balance out the lighting for you. It's not going to be anything extremely strong. Like this light usually isn't going to be strongly set. Like your key light is going to be the strongest. Your fill light is going to be semi-strong just to get rid of shadows. And the last one is the backlight. The backlight, some situations it's not needed, but I always think it's needed no matter what. But sometimes you just can't use it based on what you're shooting. But the backlight is going to create separation between your subject and the background. Some people call it a hair light because it actually illuminates the back of the head, the hair, to create that separation and add a little more dimension in your shot. But yeah, depending on what you're shooting, you can't always use the backlight, because a good example would be when I was filming this thing just a couple weeks ago. It was for FFN caregiving, and the background, we had to literally make an office building look like an apartment, and obviously I can't put a backlight behind them because I need to show off the background while I'm filming them. So I did still do a backlight, but it was off to the corner, and then I had another one off to this corner just to kind of help light them in the back and create more bokeh behind them. And it worked a little bit, but yeah, it's just more, the situational backlight is a little more situational depending on what you're filming. But if you can use it, I recommend you do, because it's just going to make everything look so much better. Now, natural light versus artificial light. Natural light is always just going to be a little bit better, because it's not really always going to be a little bit better, but it's always going to look a little more exactly natural. But it's free and it's readily available. Beautiful during golden hour. And we talked about golden hour in the last class. Golden hour is essentially an hour before sunrise and an hour before sunset. And that medium time where light is just even, it's perfect. It's very flattering on everybody. And yeah, it's the last thing. It's soft, it's flattering, and it's good for portraits, and it's really good for video, depending on how fast it's moving and how much cloud cover and things like that, because it can block out some of that light if you're in the middle of shooting and a cloud goes over the sun. Sucks. But yeah, a good practice for it is when you're filming, use your large windows and plan shoots around optimal natural light times. So if you're planning a shoot, whether it's photos or videos, and you don't have lights, plan to shoot around optimal lighting times. I would say avoid shooting in the middle of the day. Like anytime from like 10 to 2, just don't film. Like I would say anytime from like 3 to 5 during the day, even like 2 to 5, but just anytime from like 10 to around 1, 2 p.m. Try to avoid those if you're outside. If you're inside, it might be actually really good for you because the sun is very strong during that time. It's very prominent in those times of day. So, but if you're doing photos and you're outside, you're gonna have what's called raccoon eyes. It's just not gonna look. It's not gonna look very good. It's not gonna be very helpful to creating a great picture. and it's going to be really hard to try to get a good backlight. It's going to be hard to try to get a key light because the sun is actually directly over the subject and it's just beaming down. So it's what is called harsh light. Now, artificial light. Artificial light is exactly what it sounds like. It's using lights. If you have lights, there are very budget-friendly lights, but if you have lights, these can be very helpful indoors. They can also be very helpful outdoors, just depending on what you're filming or what you're shooting. But these are more advantageous because they're consistent and you can control them. So when light is consistent and controllable, you don't have to worry about a cloud going over the sun. You don't have to worry about, one of like the sun being too high, it being too hot outside. Like you have a controlled environment in general, and it still looks really good. And then, of course, they're available anytime, anywhere. So you can set them up however you want. You can set them up anytime you want. And that's always going to be more helpful when you want to plan to do more shoots, or you can't plan around certain times of the day. You can shoot in the morning, you can shoot in the evening, you can shoot in the middle of the day. It doesn't really matter at all what time you shoot because all your light is controlled. Now, some essential tools that we talked about last time were you need some reflectors, you need some diffusers to help shape and soften your light, because you can use this both in natural light too, like diffusers and even reflectors to kind of bounce some light around. But when you're using these tools, they're just going to help you shape your subject and shape your lighting more around your subject based off of the light sources that you do have. So if you're using natural light, you can still have a reflector that is bouncing some sunlight onto your subject's face if you notice that their face is very, it's still a lot of shadows on their face. I've actually had situations like that where we've had to film outside and we had to film interviews outside, and we actually set up this tall, I don't know if it's called a squib, but we set this tall, essentially 2 C-stands up, and we covered the sun actually with what looks like a white sheet. I forget the actual name of it, but to me, I just call it a white sheet. And it blocked out some of the harsh sunlight, and it spread that light out across our subject. And it also took away the harsh light that we had on the background. And then we added another artificial light, and we powered it from the inside of the place that was behind the subject to light that up. So we created a backlight that separate her from the subject, but we also still utilize the sunlight at the same time. Now, something to be aware of when you're shooting outside, be aware of your batteries, your camera, and different sources of electricity, because it causes a lot of heat, and especially if you're shooting in the daytime and it's like in the middle of the summer, the camera's going to get hot, those batteries are going to get hot, and it's going to have an adverse effect on the life of your camera. So just kind of be aware of those things when you're thinking about shooting, because it's going to suck when your camera craps out on you because you had it sitting out there in the heat. Now, we're going to get into some numbers for balancing your color, because when you have your light sources, you got to know about these settings. And it's color temperature and white balance. So first, what is color temperature? Color temperature is quite literally exactly what it sounds like. It is the warms and the cools of what's called the Kelvin scale. So warm light is anywhere from 2700 to 3200. This is those cozy, intimate sunset, sunrise, those intimate moods, while cool light is the 5000 to 6500 K, and it appears as crisp and professional. This is more like the corporate interviews, the action movies, just wherever you want to have really crisp visuals. That's usually when you see cooler, more clean light. Now, white balance and color temperature are measured in what's called Kelvin, and Kelvin is just the unit of measurement for light. I have a couple examples over on the right side of the screen Warm flock temperature. I never really use that, but that's a good example of, like, I would say early day, late night kind of stuff. And then cool light is, these are just the crisp, cool visuals. Like, this is when you see some really clean blues, really even color, and then the royal and whisper. Those are just the cozy. Intimate feelings that when you have your sunrise, your sunset, a romantic scene, different things like that. That's where those come into play. Now, when you're using these, you want to do what's called matching your light sources. So when you're mixing different color temperatures, i.e., for example, like you're mixing the sun with an artificial light, you're going to want to balance these colors and match the light sources. So, and if you don't, it's going to look really unflattering. It's going to look crazy. You don't want it to look crazy. So we're not out here making our stuff look crazy. So you want to match it as close as possible. And a lot of the lights that we have available today, they have what's called Kelvin settings on there, so you can change it to be more of a cool light, to be more of a warm light, so that when you're filming, the lighting is always even. So yeah, like, you want to just always match your lighting as close as possible as you can. And a good rule of thumb for doing this is I set the white balance on my camera first, and then I set all the lights and everything to that. Because once everything looks even across my camera, then I know I can set the other lights to that same Kelvin setting, because most cameras have, well, I can't even say most, a lot of them all have Kelvin settings now that you can set your white balance from, and then go from there to setting your actual lights. So then you can just turn them up and down based on how you need them. But setting white balance, you want to always adjust your white balance on your camera first, or on your phone, because when you match it, it's always going to make things look more accurate. And you kind of need somewhere to work off of. If you don't, it's going to be looking pretty insane. Some good examples of color temperature that I didn't do very well against is I actually shot a wedding, and I was filming in 5600K, and then I didn't notice why everybody looked super orange. And then when I changed it, it was actually 4300K. Then everybody started looking normal again. Now, you can fix this in post. If you don't happen to do it, it's okay. Just know ahead of time, it's going to be a little bit more of a hassle to do it, but you can always fix that in post, because changing, especially the better camera that you film on, it's just going to be able to change that setting and it'll look normal again. But you always want to film stuff in the correct color temperature, the correct white balance, because if not, it's just going to create more work for you in the long run. So, lighting on a budget. We talked about this in part 1 too, but here's a little bit more. You got ring lights and LED panels. Ring lights and LED panels, these are going to be your most affordable and versatile options. I mean, they provide the consistent lighting. A lot of people use ring lights now for social media and just close-ups in the cameras. And ring lights actually come with places you can actually place your phone in there. LED panels, they're pretty easily accessible too. They're very easy to use. Some even allow you to change the light's actual color, so you can do anything from red, green, blue, yellow, whatever. But they also have Kelvin controls too, so you can actually change those different things. And it's also on ring lights as well. Some ring lights have like little clips you can put on because they don't have those settings, but you can just clip an orange clip to the light or a blue clip to the light, and it'll make everything a little more clear. But yeah, ring lights and LED panels, these are going to be the very affordable, very easy to use options. You can actually rent them here at DCM. Check them out. They got a few. I use them all the time. DIY reflectors. A funny story about a DIY reflector that we actually have that we use for my current job. We bought a big piece of white styrofoam from Home Depot and we cut it into a square. And we just put some black gaff tape around the edges so we can hold it and it doesn't get beat up. And we use it as a reflector because anything that's white bounces light. So we were just like, we don't have a big enough reflector to like really make something super big. So we got that. And we also took the back of it and we just put some silver, like some aluminum on the back of it. And now we have a white side and we have a silver side and it bounces light perfectly. So yeah, you can do it very easily. But yeah, like you can create professional quality stuff, like your different light modifiers using literally just poster board, aluminum foil, or white sheets, because those things all bounce light. The whole point is you don't have to spend a whole lot of money on gear. You just need to have certain pieces of gear that are going to help you, because yeah, a white sheet can do numbers for you in just blocking out light coming in from a window. A poster board can do numbers for you when you need to bounce more light onto someone's face. And aluminum foil, I mean, hold aluminum foil in the sun and see how much it bounces off for you. And yeah, I mean, you don't have to spend a whole lot of money on gear. Like, yes, you can go buy these different pieces and things, but you can also make them yourself. Like, you don't have to you don't have to spend a whole lot of money. Even if you're making a lot of money, you don't have to go spend that money. You can make a reflector for $10 versus buying one for $70. So yeah, don't ever let anybody tell you that you need to spend a lot of money on gear, and that includes lighting and different things too. Last thing is practical lights. So use your existing lights, like your lamps, your overhead lights, your natural light sources. I mean, they're already in the space for you. They're already there for you. Utilize them and just know where you're putting them. Know what your key light is going to be, know what your fill light is going to be, and use that, and then know what your backlight is going to be. You want to have a light that goes onto your subject. You want to know that you want to know that you have a light that is going to mainly light your subject. It's going to be behind your subject. It's going to be in your background. Just utilize the stuff that's around you to already help with that. Now, mobile journalism, high quality phone video. Our smartphones today, you can capture really, really, really high quality video as long as you know pretty much what you're doing. Like, as long as you know how to stabilize your phone, as long as you know proper settings, and as long as you know good framing. I mean, look at Kai Sanat. Look at different live streamers that are live streaming all the time. It's like your phone is actually a very good piece of gear, as long as you know how to light, as long as you know your settings of like using 4K, using stabilization techniques and different framing principles. It's like that we talked about in part 1. I mean, good composition is going to help you through everything. And the best camera is the one you got. And the one you got is your phone. Utilize it to the max. Utilize tripods. Utilize having different lights. Utilize sunlight. Utilize your natural light. Utilize the rule of thirds. And utilize just different ways and setups that you can do to create whatever you're trying to create. Framing and composition, of course, you apply your rule of thirds, you use your leading lines, and your professional composition that we've all learned in part 1. It's going to create the most compelling part of your journalism, of whatever you're actually capturing. It doesn't have to just be journalism. It's really anything you're capturing. As long as you know what you're trying to film and how you're trying to film it, it's going to be great. Next one, I've stressed this so many times. and it's audio excellence. So you want to capture your crystal clear audio. You want to use lavaliers. You want to use shotgun microphones. You don't want to just use your phone's audio. Get yourself some microphones. Like I've stressed this enough. Audio is just as important, if not more important, than capturing good video. And as someone who makes videos, when the audio sucks, the whole video sucks. So without good audio, you're not going to get good results. And then last thing is you want to edit and publish fast. Like you want to be learning how to edit and do things efficiently and quickly, and have different strategies for publishing what you're trying to share. So like you can get your stuff out quickly, but still maintain really good quality. And like I said, like whatever's going to help you get those things done the quickest is going to be what helps you the absolute most. Because if you can do it quickly, but if you can do it still at high quality, then you're going to be perfectly fine in whatever it is you decide to work on. It doesn't have to just be journalism. It can be in your content creation. It can be in your short films. It can be in your feature length films. As long as you're finding efficient workflows in making those things, in editing and creating, editing and sharing those things, you'll be fine. A good rule of thumb that I do is the first day after shooting, back up everything. That's going to save you the most. That goes back to our very first class with data efficiency. The next step is just setting up the project. Set up the project, organize everything inside your project, whether you're using Premiere, DaVinci, Sony Vegas. I don't care what you're using. Just set up your project and put all those materials in it first. And then after that, pick out, after that it's kind of up to you on how you want to edit, but just pick out what is the best shots, what is going to best tell your story, and then, of course, share it. And know what platforms you're going to already. Like, if you know that this is a long format video, then you're probably not going to share that on Instagram. But you might share it on YouTube. You might put it on Vimeo. You might put it somewhere else. But just know, an underlooked step that a lot of people glaze over is more where they're going to put stuff and why. Like, know why you're going to put something on Instagram. Know why you're going to put something on YouTube. Know why you're putting something on TikTok. Just so you're not just creating willy-nilly. Like, you don't need a bunch of pieces of content all put out very quickly. You don't need that. What you need to know is why you're creating this content, where it's going, and why you're putting it there. And I think that's just a step that really takes away from quality when you don't know what those things are. But let's go on the live stream. So first thing is your core equipment. Core equipment, like you're going to need a webcam or a DSLR camera or your phone. These are the three things like you're going to need a camera. There's no way you can do anything without a camera. If you don't have a camera, you're not live streaming at all. Now you need a hardware encoder or a software encoder. And you can either do this with like OBS, with StreamYard, and with Restream. Restream, OBS, and StreamYard, they are all hardware and software encoders for the longer form content and like more secure and stable connections. Like you want to have a hardware one. And I'll get into like the gear you can use maybe in another class, because like, again, live streaming itself can be a class in itself alone, but you just want a hardware or a software encoder. I recommend you start with a software encoder first, because I guarantee if you're just starting out, you don't need all that gear. OBS is a free one. Restream, I believe you have to pay for, and StreamYard, I believe is a free one as well. StreamYard is actually very popular. in a lot of the people I've watched that go live. Like, I'm a member of EYL University. Most of the classes that they do, the live classes, they're all shared through StreamYard. And the last thing you're going to need that a lot of people seem to forget about is a stable internet connection. Now, what is a stable internet connection? A stable internet connection is a fast connection. If one that has high megabits, that has high download and upload speeds, and it just moves quickly. A good way to test your internet connection to see if it's stable, just go to Google, type in internet speed test, and it pops up a little window. Click run speed test, and it'll run it off the Wi-Fi network that you're connected to. And it'll tell you if your connection is good or not. But a lot of places, when it comes to live streaming, they forget about this. Like, think about this when you go to different venues and offsite. If you're at home, your internet connection is usually going to be pretty okay. It's going to be stable. Like, you already know how it's going to work. But it's more like when you're going offsite, this is when you want to figure out what those things are. So I recommend, if you're going to do this for a client, or even if you're doing it off site, I recommend you go there first, check out the place, and test their internet connection. Make sure all that stuff goes into play, because it's gonna suck when you go to these places and you try to live stream and you get a red square. No, my live streamers, they know about the red square, but like, if your stream starts turning red and it's not sharing no more, your data's getting transferred slowly, it's gonna suck. It's gonna look choppy. It's gonna sound crazy. So yeah, just go check those places out when you're doing stuff offsite. But if you're at home, you should be fine. Just test your internet connection. Number 2 is choosing your platforms. Select the right streaming platform for your audience and your content. Now, live streaming platforms: YouTube Live, Twitch, Facebook Live, and then you have custom RTMP servers. When I say custom RTMP servers, it's like custom servers that you can be sending from your website or your domain, we'll say, to share your live stream from. When you're choosing, when you're choosing the platform that you want to choose, you know which one's right for you just based off of which one you like the most, which one works with you the easiest. Like, that's the one that's going to be right for you. For me, that's YouTube Live, and sometimes it's Facebook Live. I don't really use Twitch that much because I'm not a Twitch streamer, but I share a lot of these videos on YouTube. So YouTube Live is for me. Facebook Live, I used to do that a lot when I live streamed for my church, because you share a lot to both YouTube and Facebook. But this is why you use services like Restream or StreamYard, because you can actually connect those different places together to share to both locations at once, and you can just stream straight out of Restream, and boom, you're good. So yeah, when you're choosing the right platform, just pick what works best for you, because sometimes it's going to be Twitch, sometimes that'll be YouTube, sometimes it'll be Facebook, sometimes it might even be Instagram. You never know. Whatever works best for you and works the most for you. Now, there's different types of live streaming. There's mobile versus multi-camera. So I would explore this a little bit more before you try to get into multi-camera. I would say focused on one camera alone, because you realize live streaming with a bunch of cameras is tough. One camera is plenty. But when you're doing things off of mobile, you want to just make sure, of course, you have a good internet connection or a good cellular connection, whatever you're deciding to film off of. But a mobile connection is just going to be more on the go. Like, this is just going to be like this is what you're going to see when you see Twitch streamers, when you see different people that are moving around to a bunch of different places, because they need to be more on the go, and those live streams are more outside at different locations and you're traveling, you're moving around, you don't want to be carrying a bunch of different cameras. You maybe want to carry one or two. You may want to have a team. You may want to just have your camera and just be live streaming off of that. But that's where that kind of comes in. But when you're in a studio like where I'm at now and you're in one spot, this is when you can start adding more cameras to live stream from, because now you're in a controlled environment. You have controlled lighting, a controlled internet connection, and those different things to build off of that you can actually monitor the whole stream off of. And then if anything does go wrong, you actually have a little bit more time and like safety to figure it out, versus when you're moving around and you're on the go, it's kind of like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And you got to just kind of pivot from there. But in studio environments, it's just going to be much more easier to control those different situations. So I recommend, if you're starting out, just try to be in one place with one camera. It's going to make things the easiest on you. And then as you progress, start adding more cameras or start moving around depending on what it is you're trying to make. And then, of course, framing and lighting. Can't do anything without it. We already learned our foundational techniques. Just make sure when you're live streaming, when you're doing these different things, make sure that that is also a thought process that you're having. And audio, I didn't put that on here. Make sure your audio is also in good standing, because if it isn't, video is going to be looking crazy. It's going to be sounding crazy. So even if you have limited resources, it's fine. Just make sure you're putting lighting principles and composition principles into play, because it's going to help it look so much better. You don't need a bunch of gear. You don't need the most expensive gear to make things look professional. Now, streaming tools and platforms. I told you I'd go through them. Some advanced software solutions. I will check out OBS Studio. I mean, it's free. It's the start of everything. You can really connect anything to it. And of course, it's open source software. So like, you have different settings for literally everything. And just using that, you'll be fine. You can connect Restream to it. You can connect different things to it. You can connect your YouTube Live, your Facebook, all of that in there, and all those different settings. There's plenty of YouTube videos on how to set it up and make it work for you depending on what you're trying to do. But yeah, OBS, I mean, I started with OBS. It's the key. It's going to work for everything. Another one, like I said, is StreamYard. It's another user-friendly one. And this one's browser-based. OBS is an app that you can actually download on your computer, but StreamYard is actually browser-based. So it's just a little bit more easier. And it has a multi-guest platform. So like, you can have people come on stage. You can have people do like, you can have people call in and come in to those different things. Like OBS, you have to do that a little more manually, but StreamYard, you can just, it's right there in your browser and you can set it up. And this makes it look professional while also not being too difficult for the user to set up. So those two are actually really good softwares to start with. Now, the next one is native phone streaming. And then this one, I don't know too much about it, but you can leverage, built-in streaming capabilities of your phone through the apps on your phone. It's like YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Instagram Live. I mean, like, I don't use these too much, so because I always prefer to just have a camera, but you can actually connect your camera and all this stuff through OBS Studio. But that's a conversation for another day. But this is like, your native phone streaming is more ideal for like, it's on the go, it's right there, we're in the field, we're like, this is just something that like, we're trying to go live, we're trying to get it out there, and yeah, it's just more on the go, ready. I can just turn on my phone, open up one of these apps, and I can go live from right there. So that's another one. And then of course, if you don't have a camera but you have a phone, you have a camera. So just start there and just start with those different kind of things. If you don't have a laptop and all that stuff, again, it's not a big deal. Start with your phone, use regular lighting techniques, you'll be good. Last thing, optimizing your connection. So ensure a smooth broadcast by prioritizing a strong, stable internet connection. Use wired Ethernet whenever possible and maintain a powerful Wi-Fi signal. Close Close your bandwidth hungry applications and always test your upload speed beforehand. When you're trying to optimize your connection, like we just read, a wired connection is always going to be the best. When you're running a wire directly into your computer, directly into your phone, or directly into your source of where you're live streaming from, it's always going to be better because it's always going to be much stronger, and someone literally has to come cut that cord or unplug that cord for that to stop. It's very unlikely, but it is easy to trip over those cords, so to keep that in mind. And a powerful Wi-Fi signal, like I was saying before, if you're at home, your Wi-Fi is probably going to be powerful. Just test your speeds, but the more powerful your internet connection, the more powerful your live stream is going to be. So prioritize having a good connection. Like before you set up the cameras, before you set up anything else, prioritize a good connection, because it's going to suck to set up all that gear, or even your phone or your laptop. It's going to suck to set up anything and then find out the stream doesn't work. It's going to break your heart. So just check those things beforehand and test your actual upload speed, because your download speed isn't going to be so much as important as your upload speed, because you're sending this to a service and you want that to be sent at a very fast rate. So engaging during live streams. You want to respond to comments. I mean, you see comments popping up, you see people interacting with you. You want to interact with those people because they're going to see that you're actually a human being. You're actually responding to them as they're trying to reach out to you. So, of course, respond to those comments. It's going to make your viewers feel more valued. It's going to make them more invested into the content, and it's going to make them want to come back because they know, like, oh, these people are actually reading what I'm saying, with all these other people that are reading, all these other people that are commenting too. And even the people that you don't necessarily get to, they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, they read, like, they'll be like, Javon reads these comments and he sees what's going on and he tries his best to respond to everybody. But, you know, if you got 10,000 people on your stream, then it's hard to respond to all 10,000. But they all 10,000 still know that you do respond to those comments as they come in. Theirs may not be read, but they know that you see them and they're going to keep investing in your content. So maybe one day that you read theirs, or maybe they say something and you respond to them, and those different things. I watch Market Mondays a lot, every Monday from Earn Your Leisure. And there's been a few times that they've actually answered some questions that I've just posted in the chat. And actually, it feels really good when you see, like, hey, these people are bigger, quote unquote, than I am, but they have information that I want to know, and they actually took my question out of all these other, took my questions or read my response or read my comment out of all these other people. Made me feel special. But the second thing is guide your audience. Encourage your specific actions like subscribing, visiting a link, asking questions, making calls to action, clear and easy to follow. So you do want to tell your audience what you want your audience to do. Like, we don't want to just stare at each other. Like, it's still a conversation. It's just a conversation over the internet. So you want to encourage them to support you. You want to encourage them to go to the things that you're talking about. Like, if you're talking about a charity event that you're holding, like, you want to encourage them and tell them, like, hey guys, I'm having a charity event. It's this Saturday at this time, and it's going to be here at this building, and I would love to see you guys there. And if you want to come through, I actually just dropped a link in the chat, and go subscribe to the link, and you'll get updates and you'll know where you're going. Those are things you want to make sure that you're actually telling your audience what you want them to do and guiding them through the live stream. You don't want to just be staring at them or talking to yourself and ignoring them. And then maintain a positive environment. Utilize your moderation tools and community guidelines to ensure a respectful and engaging chat experience for everyone. essentially don't have everybody acting crazy on your live stream. Like, moderate, get rid of people in there that are causing problems. Like, keep the chat clean, keep everything organized, have some decorum. You got to make sure we're doing things properly. We're not just out here going crazy and doing different. No, professional. We do things professional around here. We we do things professional around here. That's the easiest way to put it. Now, to wrap things up, our key takeaways: we talked about lighting essentials, mastering both artificial and natural light, and how do we optimize the control of light to help our visual storytelling. And then we talked about mobile journalism. It's combining our compelling narratives with clear audio and effective framing for professional grade content on the go. And then dynamic live streaming, we talked about strategic planning of your broadcast, engaging your audience in real time, and consistently delivering high quality streams. And then the last thing, we talked about your essential toolkit. I will have a list of all the items that you can use to help your live streams and just your content creation in general. I'll make sure that's available on the DCM page so that you guys can just download that and check it out, see what you like, what you don't like. But yeah, that's pretty much our last thing. And I don't know, do we have any questions or final thoughts that anyone posted in our chat? All right, so we don't have any questions, but so that's all I got for you guys. We actually ended a little early, about 7 minutes, but yeah. Any questions, feel free to hit me up. Feel free to reach out to DCM, and I will see y'all next month for the next one.